Are you an expat in Poland? Have you already moved to Poland or do you plan to relocate in the future? Here you will find all the information about what you need to do after relocating. Here we go! Cześć, I'm Weronika from Welcome Home and I'm your guide for the relocation process. Last time I was talking about things that you have to do before moving to Poland, so if this step is still ahead of you, feel free to check my previous video. Let's go back to the main topic. Let's check what you have to do. PESEL number. PESEL is Polish National Identification Number. All Poles have one, and so should foreigners. But why do you need one? Since 2018, all people living in Poland, both Poles and foreigners, have to register their address. When registering, they will receive PESEL automatically. But you will need PESEL not only for residence purposes. You will also need that for the tax report. Without it, your employer cannot register you in the Polish tax office. How to get one? As I already said, you receive it automatically along with the residence registration. The other way is to fill out the application form in Polish, but you will find our tips in the description below, and deliver it to the city hall of the city you live in. Also, don't forget to take your passport or ID card with you. How long will you have to wait? Your application will be accepted immediately and you will receive the PESEL right away. Residence registration. In Poland, there is an obligation for both Poles and foreigners to have their address registered. If they are staying in Poland for over 30 days for non-EU citizens or 3 months for EU citizens, we call it zameldowanie. If you already know that you are going to stay in Poland for over these 1 or 3 months, go and register your address. If you are from EU, EFTA, Switzerland, or you are a family member of such a foreigner, you have 30 days to register your address, counting from the date of arrival to this place. If you are from non-EU country, you have only 4 days to register. In order to fulfill that obligation, visit district office, po polsku urząd dzielnicy, for the place you live in. Requirements are different from EU and non-EU citizens. You will also need the application form filled out in Polish. If you're an EU citizen, you first need to be registered in the Wojewódzk's office. Only after that, you can complete zameldowanie. I'll talk about this later in this video. When leaving Poland or changing your address, you have to notify the office. This will result in the removal from the residence address. A few more things to remember. A residence address is valid only as long as your rental agreement is. The application is free of charge. Make sure with your landlord that the apartment that you are renting is a residential unit, lokal mieszkalny. You can only register to a flat with the residential unit status. In the past, failure to comply with zameldowanie could lead to some financial penalties, but right now it's no longer valid. However, it might be an obstacle for some other procedures, for example, getting a temporary residence permit. Health insurance. As I said in the previous video, in Poland there are 2 types of health insurance, public and private. A health insurance is a very important thing in Poland. Non-EU citizens have to get travel health insurance when applying for a visa, but it usually covers only emergencies. The public health insurance in Poland is operated by the National Health Fund, Narodowy Fundusz Zdrowia, NFZ. The health care system in Poland is based on the principle of equal treatment and access for everybody. When can you access public health care in Poland? If you are a citizen of a country of the EU, EFTA or Switzerland, if you have a visa with permission to work, if you have a temporary residence permit, if you have a permanent residence permit, if you have a long-term residence permit of the EU, if you have a humanitarian residence permit, if you have a tolerated residence permit, or if you have a refugee status in Poland. As I mentioned in a previous video, employers on employment or fee-for-task contract get public health insurance automatically. An insured employee has an obligation to report his or her family members to be covered by the NFZ if they are not insured yet. If you are changing a job, you have to report your family members to a new employer. Adding your family members does not result in higher or additional contribution. All students have to be insured, even if they are staying in Poland only for a short term. Students have to apply for the insurance on their own. In order to get voluntary public health insurance, you need to have your address registered. To get it, you have to fill out some documents, of course in Polish, and bring it to the NFZ branch in your city. The link to all documents is in the description. What about the cost? The cost depends on the average salary in Poland. In July 2021, it was about 500 zloty. Students and doctoral students pay less, about 55 zloty a month. The most important thing about this insurance is that NFZ will check your previous insurance period. If you have never been in Poland or you didn't pay insurance for the last 3 months, you will have to pay for the gap period. The National Health Fund gives you access to general practitioner or family doctor, however you call it. In Polish it is lekarz rodzinny. First, you have to choose one. Go to the NFZ clinics closer to your home, get the documents, ask the nurse for the doctor you should choose, and fill out the documents according to the nurse guidance. Night and medical care on holidays, emergency room and hospital care, rehabilitation, diagnostic tests. First you must get the referral, visit to specialist. First you need to go to the general practitioner, get the referral, sign up on the waiting list and wait for your appointment. Without the referral, you can go to psychiatrist, oncologist, dentist or gynecologist. All citizens of European Union and European Economic Trade Area are entitled to get public health insurance offered by the NFZ for free. They only need to be insured in their country, and before coming to Poland they have to get the European Health Insurance Card. Private insurance providers. Obviously, you can get an insurance from the private company, but you have to remember that they don't offer the same equal services as you can expect from the public one. Everything depends on the policy, the package. The cheapest one usually offers only the general practitioner and some specialists. Of course, the more you pay, the more you get, but the most expensive ones can get even up to 3,000 per year. One more thing to remember is that the private policies usually offer some delay periods. This means that you cannot go to a certain doctor or have a surgery unless you pay the contribution for 60 or even 120 days. Also, you have to remember that the private insurance does not cover the emergencies. So in case you go to a hospital, you will have to pay for treatment, tests and everything on your own. Some packages offer the sickness benefit, but this is not the standard. Some employers, especially large international companies, offers the private health insurance as an extra benefit. Residence permit and card. If you want to stay here longer than your legal stay or visa is, apply for a residence permit. The temporary residence permit is valid between 3 months and 3 years. To apply for it, you have to fill out some documents. It must be done in Polish. Then you have to bring it to the voivodeship's office along with photos and copy of your passport. You have to do it at least on the last day of your legal stay in Poland. If you also want to start or continue working in Poland, you also have to apply for the temporary residence permit with a permission to work. To do it, you have to add the attachment number 1 filled out by your employer. A list of recommended additional documents is quite long, thus I recommend you to check the website. The link is in the description. When submitting the application, you will receive a stamp in your passport. You can legally stay in Poland even if your visa expires. However, if you would like to go back to your country, then when coming back to Poland, you have the visa again. The minimum waiting time is a month, but as always, everything depends on the number of people applying. So better don't wait till the last moment. If everything goes well, you will receive a temporary residence permit with a card. You can travel across Europe or at least the Schengen zone. As for cost, the stamp duty costs 440 zloty and there is also a fee for issuing the card, 50 zloty. What happens if your application got rejected? You have 14 days to make a complaint to the head of office for foreigners, and then they have 7 days to answer you. If this doesn't help, you have 30 days to leave Poland. If you stay in Poland after your legal stay or visa expires and you don't apply for temporary residence permit, you will be forced to leave the country. Important information for EU citizens. If you are an EU citizen and you want to stay in Poland for more than 3 months, you have to be registered in the voivodeship's office. Some people haven't done that even after years of being in Poland. Well, you won't be expelled from the country, but you might be fined. Okay, it's time to sum up. Here are some tips for you. When you are still in your country, make a copy of as many documents as possible. We also recommend translating them to Polish. For example, birth certificate, driving license, bachelor, master, doctor diploma, work certificates, a certificate that proves that you are paying the health insurance contribution in your country, marriage certificate if you are married. Remember that in Poland, same-sex marriages aren't legal. No claim bonus if you want to have a car. Medical and dental records, especially if you need special treatment. Financial records. Although many Poles speak English, all the documents must be filled out in Polish. So find a friend who will help you with that and will go to the offices with you. Last but not least, don't leave everything to the last minute. The bureaucracy might take much longer than you think, and you don't want to get in trouble and stressed, don't you? Here you will find the continuation of the checklist after coming to Poland. 4 days after. Register your address if you are not from the EU. Register in the voivodeship's office if you are from EU. 1 week after. Register your address if you are from EU. Register your family members to the NFZ via your insurance if they are not insured. 2 weeks after. Get private or public health insurance if you don't have one already. Get a Polish zloty bank account. 2 months after. Apply for a temporary residence permit if you have a 3-month visa. 10 months after. Apply for a residence permit if you have a 12-month visa. The checklist is also available in the description, so you can easily download it. That's all for now. I hope that your relocation process will go smoothly. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check our Welcome Home guide. See you in Poland!